First question, let me see, let me put them in order. Okay. 6.2, number 17. Number 6. 6.2, 17 in the book. Number 6, excuse me, online. First of all, I always tell you if it's a test question or not. And all of these are going to be test questions because there's only 2 types of problems. This is a test question, and what kind of problem is it? Is it a plug and chug problem, or is it a solve problem? Well, it's a solve problem because they want you to find H. So you got to solve it first for H. So I would highlight that determine H, and that would say you need to solve for H. That's what that says. So on this problem, it says V is equal to pi r squared H. And then it says solve for H. And then it says plug and chug V is equal to 1413. Pi is equal to 3.14. That's normal. And R is equal to 5. So this is what the problem actually says in Hubertism terms. That's what the problem says. That's what you need to change that problem into. Number 1, solve for H. And then number 2, plug and chug. So this is the second type problem that we went over. The first type is plug and chug. The second type is solve for a variable. So this is multiplication. This is multiplication. So how do we undo multiplying by pi r squared? That's a Q, Q-U-E. That means I want y'all to interact with me. Either say I have no earthly idea or
divide.
What? Divide by what?
Itself.
Pi r squared. Divide by pi r squared. Hold on just a second. Okay, so divide by pi r squared, divide by pi r squared, and take our red pen and cancel those out. And H is equal to V divided by pi r squared. All right, so we did part 1. Got that done. Now part 2, plug and what? Plug and chug. So parentheses over pi times parentheses squared. And 1413 goes here and 5 goes here. So that's going to be 1413 divided by 25 pi. And I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator. Now they say pi is equal to 3.14. Now if you put in pi, which is shift caret symbol, and hit enter, that's pi. And actually it keeps going. It is what we call a continuous number. You don't know the next number. You got to calculate it. There's no pattern. So in mathematics, that's called continuous. It's also called irrational. So you might want to write that down. You don't know the next number. So after this 4, if I ask you what the next number is, you don't know it unless you actually calculate it. and it takes about a half a page to calculate each one of these digits. Okay, so to make a long story short, you're either going to use the whole number or you're going to use what the directions tell you, 3.14. Since the directions tell us 3.14, we're not going to use this right here, so we're going to clear it. Well, I'm going to clear the keyboard, and I'm going to clear that because we don't need that. We need 3.14. So 1413 divided by, divided by, and you notice I'm using a calculator, so that means you should be using one too. 25 times 3.14, and then close parentheses. Now, what that does is that tells the calculator that whatever is on the bottom, since it's in parentheses, I'm going to take that number and I'm going to divide it into 1413. If you don't do the parentheses, then the calculator will go from left to right and do 1413 divided by 25, and then take that number and multiply it by 3.14, and you'll get the wrong answer. So you got to put the bottom, you got to put the denominator in 25 in parentheses. So you can either do 2, 3 steps, or you can do it parentheses. Whichever one you want to, you get the same answer, and that is 18. So your answer to the plug and chug is 18. Now, I can tell you right now, this is a standardized test question, and it is a Hubert test question. You will see this again. Solve for H, and then plug and chug. Is it supposed to be done in that order? Yes. The only thing that goes in front of number 1 is if there was a fraction in this formula, you would clear the fraction first. So I got it written down. H is equal to V, capital V, and let's talk about that for a minute. In science and mathematics, does a capital V mean the same thing as a lowercase v? Yes or no?
No.
No.
The capital V is going to be
Exactly. They do not mean the same thing. So if you have a capital V, you write it as a capital V, because a science or math teacher, if you put a little v right there, and that's a big V, it starts off with a big V, and you put a little v right there, or make this a big H, they will mark it wrong. That is a no-no in math and science. You do not change a lowercase to an uppercase and an uppercase to a lowercase in a formula or an equation, period. Pi times R raised to the second power, shift up 2. That should be your answer. Okay, that's the answer. So I don't care what they say, that's the answer. They might want something else, maybe, or they want you to plug it all the way in. Let me see. They probably want the final answer of 18. Let me see.
Yeah, that's what they wanted for mine.
Okay. They just want the answer. So I do like that as a test question because it's short and sweet. You do all the work and then you just punch in the answer. Good question. Whoever sent that one, that's a good one. Good test question. Next test question. 6.220 in the book. Number 7 online. And like I said, all of 6.2 is test questions. It's just going to be 1 or 2 on the test. But this is, oh, this one they love to put on standardized test. So if you ever take a standardized test, one like this one will be on there. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down while you write it down. I'm not going to write all the words. C is equal to 5/9 times F minus 32. And that is the conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Expresses the relationship between Fahrenheit and Celsius, blah, 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 blah. Use the formula to convert 50 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius. Somebody tell me which one is this one. Is this a solve or is this a plug and chug?
I think plug and chug.
It's plug and chug. Good job. So this is the first type of problem that we talked about. Plug and chug. You don't have to solve for a variable. You just have to plug 50 in there. So here we go. So C is equal to 5/9, parentheses, minus 32. And I'm going to plug that 50 in there. And 50 minus 32 is what, 18?
Yeah.
What did I do right there? What did I do that some of y'all won't do?
Turned it into a fraction.
I turned 18 into a fraction by putting it over a 1. Now, why did I do that? To make the math a whole lot easier, because since 5.3, what did you learn in 5.3? And 9 and that 18 will what? It will cancel, Hubert. That's right, class. 9 will go into 9 one time. 9 will go into 18 two times. And what's 2 times 5? 10, Hubert.
10.
That's right. So 10 degrees Celsius. So 50 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 10 degrees Celsius. Notice, how did I do this problem? Step by what?
Step.
I didn't try to go from step 1 to step 4 in my head like some of you guys do. Sorry, guys. Usually the guys, because they can figure out everything. They know everything. Step by step, plug and chug, very simple. So let's tap that in. Where's my question? There it is. So 10 degrees Celsius, and I feel good about myself. Another good, short and sweet question. Next question.
Wait, hold up. Can I see the work again?
Say again?
Can I see the work again?
Yeah. Hold on.
Also, do you have to capitalize that C?
Hold on a second. Y'all asking me. Remember, I'm a guy now. I can only do 2 things at one time. All right. Now, there's the question. Now, what did you say?
Do
Do
you
I
have
have to capitalize what?
the C?
Well, let's look at the question. I think you do. Well, I lost the question. Hold on. Let me go to deleted items. I hope I can find it. Let's see. I think it's that one right there. Hold on a second, Mr. Pack. I think it was Mr. Pack that asked to see the work. Hold on. I'm looking to see if it was a capital C. I think it was a capital C. Yeah. Yeah, capital C, that stands for Celsius, just like the Fahrenheit. So yes, you would,
Thank you.
would capitalize that.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pack, does that help? Do you need any more time?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's look at the next homework question. There it is. Number 29 in the book. Number 9 online. So this is like everybody's number 9 question. And it's probably a test question. Oh yeah, we went over this one 2 or 3 times. Now this one is plug and chug, but it's also a calculator what? Drill. Plug and chug. But this one, besides a calculator, besides a plug and chug, it's also how to use your calculator. Simple interest, not simple interest, compound interest. A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. And we talked about this last week. Principal, that's what you put in the bank account. That's what you put in. R is equal to the rate. That means what the bank does. It's usually a percent. You want to put it in as a decimal. N is number of times the bank calculates. They call it compound. Calculate and compound is the same word. And then last, T is number of what? What was the word I told you? Number of what? Starts with a Y.
Years.
Years. Why is that important? Because if they give you months, you have to put that over 12 and put in a decimal or a fraction for years. You cannot put in months. T is always in years. You need to highlight that. I'll take a highlighter right now and highlight that, because that is what people forget. Because on a standardized test or my test, it might say 6 months. 6 months would be 0.5 years or 1/2 years. So in this case, I'll tell you what, I'm going to another color. The principal in this case is equal to $2,000. The rate is equal to 0.04. The number of times it's calculated during the year is 12, so that means monthly. And how many years? 5 years. So I'll go to my handy dandy whiteboard, and there is all the information we need. Plug and chug and calculate. How to use your calculator. Any questions so far? Now, if you want to, you can draw over to the side what it looks like when you plug everything in. 2,000 times 1 plus 0.04 over 12 raised to the 12 times 5 power. And that's what you're going to type in the calculator. Now, should you have to do this on paper? No. You shouldn't have to do it on paper. You should be able to do it on your calculator. What do you mean, Hubert? You should be able to type everything in on the calculator. Inside out. So I'm going to start with the 0.04 over 12. Let me clear everything, because I don't want you to get messed up. I want to make sure you see the keystrokes and everything that I show you. So 0.04 divided by 12. And then I'm going to add that to 1. Add it to 1. Question so far, any? So in the parentheses is 1.00333333 repeating. Now you can do this in your head, or you can do it outside the margin by hand, or you could actually raise it, hit the caret symbol. That means take my answer and raise it, and you can put it in here. parentheses and say 12 times 5 and close parentheses. And that's that number right there. And now all you got to do is multiply that by 2,000. And at the end of 5 years, that's how much money you got in the bank. So there are the keystrokes to plug that in. And you get $2,441.99. And what did you do to get $442? You did absolutely nothing. You left it in the bank, and you let the bank use it to invest in the stock market 3 or 4 times on paper, and they made probably 4 or 5 times what you made. You made $400. They probably made $2,000 to $3,000 off your money. But that's the way the world turns. Because nothing is what? Nothing is free. Okay?
Did you use the exponent?
Yes. I've typed it in as 12 times 5. See it right up there?
Oh,
Right there.
okay. I see you.
I'm going to leave that on the board right quick, so if you need to take a picture of that the keystrokes, I did 0.04 divided by 12, enter, and that gave me the 0.0333. Then I took that answer and I added 1. There's that. Then I raised that number, raised it to the parentheses 12 times 5, close parentheses, and that's that right there. And then I multiplied that by 2,000. So that's your answer, 2441.99. So let's go back to our handy dandy problem. Well, that's not it. There it is. 2441.99. And you feel good about yourself. Another good SAT question / test question. Next. This is 6.229 in the book, number 9 online.
It's probably the same one.
That's fine, we'll do it again. All right, type that one in. I'll make it a little bit bigger for y'all to do it. There you go. I'm going to let y'all do it on, you should be able to do it on your calculator by now. After this is about the 3rd or 4th problem we've actually done. How was everybody's weekend?
It was good.
It was
I watched a good golf match. Watched that Sunday, and also watched a good race Sunday. I think they were in Las Vegas. And I binge watched Law and Order and Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Oh.
I don't know why I did that. You know how you binge watch and you just do it? I don't know why I did it, but I did. So.
What was the name of it?
Law and Order.
I've heard of that.
And then Law and Order SVU.
See, when I binge watch stuff, it's usually stupid, like something on TLC. Like,
Yeah.
all of their shows are like super staged, but I don't know. I think it's funny.
I like a lot of Discovery and History Channel stuff.
I do too.
I'm over here watching 90 Day Fiance.
Oh yeah, I don't get into some of those.
It's so stupid. The
Well,
show is stupid.
well, people watch soap operas and wrestling. Wrestling is WRASSLIN because it's like soap operas. I mean, it's like drama. And
Perfect.
some people like drama, but there's some of those shows that are just so shallow. And I hate to use that word, just like you did. Stupid. They're stupid. People
They
watch.
are.
I tell you a good example. You know, me and my son, we watch sci-fi movies. You know, like Octo Shark and Swamp Shark, and they are terrible acting, cheesy plots, and terrible computer graphics. But that's why people watch them.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen a sci-fi movie before?
Yes.
They are terrible. But so is wrestling and so is soap operas. Nobody ever has a job in soap opera land. And if they do have a job, they're on vacation or they're on leave. Nobody has a job unless they work in a hospital. Anyway. But yeah, I agree with you, Miss Wilson. Some of them are kind of stupid. There are some that I just can't watch.
Yeah. It's crazy. All the shows on TLC are like that. But they're funny to watch because they're so stupid.
Yeah, because they're cheesy. Yeah. 0.05. I'm writing this down for you. Over 4 raised to the 4 times 4. That should be what it looks like. So here we go. .04, 0.05. So I'm going to do all this first. So I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator. Move this over a little bit. Try to get everything on one page for you. Don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Make it a little bit smaller. There we go. All right, clear this and clear this. So here we go. We're actually going to type this in, and I'm going to leave the keystrokes down here so you can take a picture of them or whatever the case may be. So 0.05 divided by 4, enter, plus 1, enter, raised, caret symbol, parentheses, 4 times 4, close parentheses. Now, I've got a degree, I've got most of my teeth, and I got running water in my house. I know that 4 times 4 is 16. I know that, y'all. So I don't need anybody going, why don't you just say 16? Well, what if that was a decimal? What if this was a fraction? You know, you might want to think about that. Not everything's going to be, you know, bells and whistles. Hit enter. And multiply that by what? 9,000. So at the end of 4 years, how much money you got in the bank, savings account? You got $10,979.01. Now I'm going to give you one here in just a second. I want you to do it. $10,979.01, and you feel good about yourself. So now I'm going to give you one that I want you to do like this. You just have either won the lottery or your grandmother has left you millions of dollars. Let's go with P is equal to $10 million. And you don't know what to do with it. Should I do this or should I do this? Should I invest some of it? Well, the best thing for you to do when you come into a lot of money is put it in a savings account for about 6 months until you talk to somebody, which is usually a financial attorney, financial lawyer, a financial lawyer, or an accountant, because they can tell you all the ins and outs of how to keep as much money without giving a lot to Uncle Sam. You can invest it in land. You can invest it blah, blah, blah. You can do this with it. You can give some of it away so you don't have to pay taxes on it, whatever the case may be. All the little nooks and crannies that a $10 million person, a millionaire, take advantage of. Unless you want to distribute it out to people that don't work, and that's up to you. Okay? I'm sorry, won't work. W-O-N-T, won't work. There's a difference between somebody that can't work and somebody that won't work. So if you want to take that and distribute it to 5 million people that won't work, then you can do that. All right. So anyway, the case 10 million. And let's say that you just want to leave it in there for 6 months. So T is equal to, I'm going to put 6 months in quotation marks. Because you got to get an appointment with a financial lawyer and or an accountant, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with all this money. They're going to compound it because the bank is going to be chomping at the bit for you to put that money in. Let's say you'd have to bust that up into quarter meals. So you'd have to bust it up into 40 savings accounts, 250 million. And you'd have 40 accounts with that bank, 40 savings accounts. And they'd bust it up into 200 quarter mil each account. So they would be chomping at the bit. So they'll say, we'll give you 6% interest. R is equal to 6%. And we'll compound it quarterly. So they're going to compound it. N is equal to 4. So how much money will you have at the end of 6 months? Go ahead and do that. A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Now I want somebody to tell me what T is going to be equal to. Of course, I just told you that about, 2 problems ago. What is T going to be equal to? 1/2 or point what? 0.5. Now, do it. And you shouldn't have to write anything down. I'm sorry. Let me move this over. There it is. So you shouldn't have to write anything down. All you need to do is type it in the calculator. And I'll sit here and let you do it for a minute or two, and we'll do it together. Okay. so here we go with the calculator. Really? Hold on a second. I got to fix this to where it won't go all over the place. There. All right, so I'm going to clear this. Clear this. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 0.06 and divide that by 4. 0.06, divide that by 4. And add that to 1. So in the parentheses, I've got 1.015. That's what I got in the parentheses. Now, what's half of 4?
2.
So you're going to raise that to the second power, or I'm going to raise it, parentheses, to the 4 times 0.5 power. And that's going to be 1.015 to the second power. And I'm going to multiply that by 10 million. So after 6 months, how much do you have in the bank? Well, let's see. Subtract 10 million. You got over $300,000 in the bank. That's what you should do when you come into a lot of money. You should not go buy a brand new F-450, 4-door, 4-wheel drive dually, put $600,000 in the console of cash, and go to the nearest strip club. Guy down there in Texas did that, and when he came out of the strip club, somebody beat him up, took the money he had on him, which was around $100,000, stole his truck with $600,000 in the console. So anyway, so I don't know about y'all, but $302,000 is a nice chunk of change for 6 months. And you could take that money and, you know, you could live off that money and still at the end of 10 years have still $10 million in the bank. But you wouldn't want to do that with a savings account. You'd want to put that in an IRA or something, or put half of it in an IRA and just live off the interest. That's why you need to talk to, when you come into a bunch of money. Now, what is a bunch of money? I would say anything over, you know, $5,000 or $10,000, depending on what you think is, you know, a lot of money. I think I would put it in the savings account first, and then go talk to somebody. Well, I want to buy this. I want to buy that. You got to be sensible. You get a bunch of money or a lot of money. You don't go out and act like a hoodlum. That's what some people do. They end up getting beat up in the parking lot, and you just don't do things like that. All right, so that's the homework. Let's see if there's any more homework problems. I don't know if there's one more or not. Well, that won't go away. Why won't that go away? Whatever. One last question. And this is 6.244/16. And there we go. Now this is the type of question I would put on test right here. I love this type. I think we did one like it before. But this one, solve. That's it. You don't plug and chug. You don't do anything. This is just solve. Now I'm not even going to look and see what to solve for, because that's not my priority. My priority is to get rid of that 1/3. So number one, get rid of the 1/3. All right, the problem is V is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h, and I'm not even looking to see what to solve for because that's not what I'm going to do first. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, which is the common denominator of 1/3. Let me put this over here. There we go. Oh, great. Hit the wrong button. Damn Russians. Mr. Potato Head, Dr. Seuss. It's all their fault. Isn't it?
They got canceled. I don't know if it's their fault.
And the NRA, it's their fault too. Guns kill people. If you put a gun on the kitchen table, it's going to kill somebody. Sit there for 20 years and not move. Only way a gun can kill people is somebody to what? Pick it up. Somebody to pick it up. Same thing with a knife. Same thing with a fork. Same thing with a 2-foot section of fishing line.
You definitely are not wrong.
What?
So you're not wrong.
Well, I've never seen. Let me ask you a question. Does a spoon twist your arm to get you to eat?
No.
So if spoons don't force you to make you eat more, how does a gun kill people? You got to have somebody to pick it up. All right. So get rid of the 1/3. I did that. So now we've got 3v is equal to pi r squared h. Now I go back to the question and I look at what they want me to solve for. I want h. So we've already done that today, but we'll do it again. So how do I get rid of multiplying by pi r squared? I divide by pi r squared. And if I do it on one side, I got to do it on the other. And the magic happens. The pi's cancel and the r squared cancels. And you're left with h is equal to 3v over pi r squared. That's the kind of question I would put on a test. Because it's got a fraction in it, and y'all all go crazy over fractions, so I'm going to put a lot of them on the test. So we get 3v, 3 capital V over pi r, and then raise that, shift up arrow, squared. And that's that one. That's a good test question. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to our handy dandy PowerPoint. These are word problems.
Is 114, by the way.
I'm sorry, what? I know. I've only got like 1 minute. Now, what I want you to do,
Yeah.
these are in your note, but these are in your books. There's 4 of them, 4 or 5 of them. They're in your book. I want you to make a note of them. I want you to put an index card front and back. That's 2 index cards. I want you, they're in your book, and you can copy them out of your book, or, you know, do a snipping chart. You know, if you want to pull up snip. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on, blame it. Somebody, I've got a what do you call it? A pre-advising thing set up. Hold on just a minute. Anyway, go to Snipping Tool on your computer. See if you got Snipping Tool, and you just hit New, and you cut it out like that. If you got Snipping Tool, and save it right here. Save as, download, and call it chart number 1 or whatever, save it, whatever. Put it in a Word document, print it out, put it on the back and front of an index card, and you should have 4 of them. There should be 4 of them in your book. There they are right there. That's your homework for tonight, besides working on, I want you to read 6.3, and I want you to look for those 4 charts. If you don't have them by Wednesday, or if you can't find them in the book, let me know Wednesday, and I will print them out and put them on the files for you. All right, I got to go. Let me take the roll right quick because I didn't take the roll, and I need to take the roll. Hold on just a second. Let me just go here. I hate taking the roll at the end of class. And let me turn the recording off.